Hi, everyone. My name is Ricky Lochi. I'm a third year DPT slash MPH student at Northwestern. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about financial wellness in PT school, as well as how to get some outside scholarships and what advice I can provide for you as somebody who was able to accumulate a good amount of money towards my education and towards my personal funds. So we're just going to go through some advice about how to do this. Let's acknowledge something. Debt is scary, and grad school is hard, and having financial restrictions can sometimes make it even more stressful. So whatever you can do to alleviate some of that stress or to kind of proactively take care of that debt is really, really important. So our goal today is to break down some ways to look for outside scholarships, to talk a little bit about financial wellness, and hopefully provide some insight about how to not only find some scholarships, but how to get them actually. You can regain some power by mitigating costs in general with grad school. So budgeting is going to be your friend. Weekly budgeting is going to keep your costs down. No amount of scholarships is probably going to cover the full costs of tuition or personal costs while you're in grad school. But if you can take some time to do some budgeting, maybe a part-time job, and then we'll be talking about scholarships today, you are going to set yourself up for a lot less stress while you're in school, as well as stress when you finish school and you're paying back some loans. The reality is there are limited scholarships for grad school. It's unfortunate. It tends to be the case. Grad school tends to be seen as not necessary for people or supplementary. I would disagree. For those of us who want to pursue certain careers, it feels mandatory. But you can find some scholarships. You just need to be a little bit creative and do some investigating. First of all, Google is your friend. Um, Searching for kinds of scholarships are going to be really, really great. You can look at local scholarships, the city you live in, or maybe the city you grew up in. There are scholarships. There are statewide scholarships, and there are national scholarships. Hell, there are even international scholarships for people that have done maybe international travel or international work, or have international ideas about how they want to take the career at any of these levels, and you can advocate for yourself at any of these levels. So looking not only nationally, but also at those local and state scholarships can be really, really beneficial. You want to make sure that you are searching for what makes you unique. So here's a couple lists, okay? You can look at scholarships based on your gender, based on your race, based on your ethnicity, even sexuality. If you're a first generation student, if you're a first generation American, the career you're going into often has specific scholarships. If you have a mental disability, like a mood disorder or a learning disability, those can actually, there's a lot of scholarships out there for those. If you have a physical disability, oftentimes you can find scholarships for that. If you have a history in art, or you want to go into the performing arts, or you want to go into athletics, or have a history of athletics, sometimes there are scholarships that provide ongoing education for that. If you have a interest in music, if you have an interest in helping certain populations, if you have a specific population that you're really, really passionate about, whether it's based on race or ethnicity, or based on sexuality, or based on a certain population that meets needs, there are scholarships that help you advocate for that learning. And you can talk about how you want to take your career and then do work for those scholarships. And you can search any of these on Google and just try to look for something that matches what makes you unique, what you're passionate about, what represents your history, what represents your identity, and then you can find scholarships that specifically apply to those. The things you'll need to acknowledge when you apply. Most scholarships are looking for you to have financial need. Sometimes you'll even have to advocate for your need and tell them why. So you have to be comfortable advocating, saying that I need the support of money so that I can pursue my education, or that I have these other financial restrictions that have held me back from financial wellness. So taking ownership of where you are with your financial wellness is really, really powerful, and something you'll probably have to advocate with most scholarships. You'll need passion. You'll need to be able to talk about why you're pursuing what you're pursuing, and why you're unique, and why you have a vision for the field. If you have a bigger picture, or you could talk about where you really want to take your career or ideas you have, even if you're not 100% sure, even if it's not like commitment, you don't have to do it. But if you have ideas of where you want to be in a couple years, or what kind of programs you want to develop, or where you want to see, especially if those kinds of passions have to do with helping community or helping the underserved, those are really good things to talk about. Hardships you overcome. This is not the time to necessarily be as professional. Sometimes in certain settings, we're afraid to talk about the hardships we've experienced. This is a time to be very, very vulnerable. If you struggled with anything from mental health to physical disability to dealing with stereotypes or racism or bigotry or hate, or you have had some sort of hardship in your life, these are times to open up about how, not that you're a victim of these things, but how you've overcome these things and come out a kinder, more compassionate, stronger person who's willing to put energy into themselves and energy into your career based off these things that have kind of got you to this point. Do not be afraid of being vulnerable. Do not be afraid of opening up. They want to see that you are different. They want to see that you're unique. They want to see how strong you are, not because of what you've experienced, but the way you've overcome these experiences. The last thing you want to do is what you're going to do with your education. Who do you want to help? Who you are determined to help? They want to hear passion. They want to hear that you are going to be a leader in the field. They want to hear that you are a strong person. Again, these can change in grad school. They absolutely can. But they want to hear your ideas and they want to hear what you're pursuing. And they just really want to see that this career is right for you and that they should support you. Again, you got to show financial need. You got to show passion for what you're pursuing. Open up about some hardships that you've experienced. They want to know what you've overcome and how strong you are. And they want to know what you're going to do with your future education plans and your future career. Keep in mind, if you get a scholarship, you will likely have to do some work for the organization. Sometimes it's as simple as supplying a GPA or writing up like what you did that year. Sometimes you'll have to go to conferences. Sometimes you'll have to send a bio. Sometimes you'll have to meet people. It really depends on the size of the scholarship and what organization you're doing. So understand that a lot of these scholarships, especially for grad school, not necessarily come with here's the money, and then we're never going to talk again. They really usually want to be able to say, hey, this is the person that we're supporting, and this is what they're doing in grad school. So a lot of times there will be follow-up work, usually not very overwhelming. Usually the larger the scholarship is, the more work that you'll have to do. Other considerations is that you'll likely have to keep GPAs, especially if there are scholarships that renew for a year over the years. You may have to provide some proof of income or your current financial status. You will not make enough money to cover everything, but that does not mean that you should not apply to mitigate some costs. With loans being as expensive as they are these days, every little bit helps. If you can get some relief to have some financial relief in grad school, that can improve your performance. You should not hesitate to apply for grad school just because you're like, well, I'm going to take out all these loans anyways. I was personally able to mitigate quite a significant amount of costs by doing some extra work. It's okay if you don't get every scholarship that you apply for. You likely won't. I think I applied to over 20 outside scholarships, and I think I was able to get 5. That's usually the rate of what you're doing. It may be less, it may be more, but every single bit helps. So what's next? How do you go about approaching this? You really want to create a schedule. You don't want to randomly just do this. You'll get very overwhelmed and get very, very burnt fast. Dedicate usually an hour a week to searching, and then another hour a week to actually filling out applications. So that's 2 hours out of your week. Something that you can really sit down and do. You're going to want to spend time writing essays. You're going to want to make sure somebody's proofreading those essays. I can't stress that enough. That's a really quick way to just not get a scholarship. Getting feedback from family and friends is really, really helpful. And finding accountability may also be helpful. So tell friends that you're doing this, or have a person that you're doing this, or have somebody supporting you. Just like you have somebody supporting you in grad school when you're taking classes and everything, have somebody help you commit to this time. Because if you're not taking the time, you're not scheduling the time, you likely won't be productive. But if you're scheduling an hour a week, the whole process seems less overwhelming. So take some time, schedule, take some time to write essays. You can reuse essays. A lot of times, if you're writing like your personal bio, you can mostly just edit the essays. You don't have to write a unique essay for every single one, but it will take some time to start to compile some of that information. That is pretty much it. Again, my name is Ricky Lochi. I'm a third year at Northwestern. Hopefully this was insightful. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have questions or concerns, you can always talk with faculty at Northwestern. They're extremely helpful. They may have other ideas or other insights, especially some advisors. Think about what makes you unique and really start to advocate for yourself. There is so many potential scholarships out there, even for grad school, but it does take a little bit of work. It does take a little bit of effort, but it can be really, really worth it if you start to mitigate some of those costs of grad school. Good luck with school. Good luck with the scholarships. And I hope you have an excellent day.